what if the secret to achieving your biggest dreams isn't really a secret at all? What if it's not about, overnight miracles or instant fixes, but something far simpler, something more powerful, maybe hiding in plain sight? We're constantly bombarded with these promises, right? Lose 30 pounds in a week, make $200,000 working 2 hours a day. It's tempting to believe, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's precisely where that whole microwave mentality hooks us. We seem to be wired for immediate gratification. But look, here's the stark truth. Those shortcuts, they're mostly a lie. Real lasting success just doesn't come in, three easy payments. It's built, it's not bought.
Mm.
And that's why, looking at the sources you sent over, this concept of the compound effect really stands out. It feels so powerful. It just cuts through all that noise, all the hype, and brings us back to these, well, unshakable, timeless principles.
And that's exactly our mission today. We're doing a deep dive into your sources to really unpack this concept. We want to help you understand how those seemingly tiny, smart choices, when you make them consistently over time, how they truly create these massive, radical transformations in your life.
Yeah.
We're going to explore how this sort of invisible power works, why it's so often underestimated, and maybe most importantly, get into the practical strategies from your material for making it actually work for you.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that what maybe appears too simple is often, the most profound path forward.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're talking about the compound effect. Can you break down the core idea for us? What is it, really?
Well, at its heart, it's about the relentless power of small, consistent actions, repeated over time. Think of it less like a sprint, more like a sustained journey, you could say. The author, Darren Hardy, often talks about his mentor, Jim Rohn, who always said, there are no new fundamentals. Truth is not new, it's old.
Yeah.
So this isn't about some brand new discovery. It's more about applying that age-old wisdom, but with real, unwavering discipline.
That idea of old truths and unshakable fundamentals, it almost sounds deceptively simple. So what's the biggest misconception people have? I mean, when something appears so straightforward.
I think it's that it should feel like something grand is happening right from day one.
Yeah.
And that's both its power and its trap. The compound effect, it works quietly, silently, invisibly, really, at first. You just don't see the results immediately.
Right.
And that initial lack of visible progress, that's often the tragedy, isn't it? Because if people just kept going, the results would start to show up. Our brains, frankly, they aren't great at appreciating that tiny incremental change. We want that big dopamine hit.
Yeah, we do.
It's like planting seeds, right? You have to keep watering, keep showing up, and just trust that one day, eventually, you'll see the growth.
It's those moments, isn't it? Like you've been jogging for 8 days straight and you still feel basically the same. Or maybe you've practiced piano for 6 months and you can still only play, I don't know, chopsticks badly. Or you've been diligently saving for 3 years and your account still looks, well, pretty modest. It feels like nothing's really happening. And that's exactly when we tend to just give up. Does that struggle, that initial feeling of invisible progress, does it ever truly go away?
Not entirely, maybe. But your perspective does shift.
Yeah.
You learn to trust the process more. That initial invisibility, it's actually kind of a protective mechanism of the compound effect itself. It stops others from seeing your progress until it's undeniable. And for those first few weeks or months, you're rewiring your brain. Every consistent choice you make builds a new neural pathway. And slowly, it makes that desired action less effortful. It's definitely hard, but you're strengthening your mental muscles. That's invisible, but it's incredibly powerful stuff.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The magic penny example. Imagine you have a choice. $3 million of cash right now. Or one single penny that doubles in value every single day for 31 days. I mean, most people, they'd grab the $3 million, right? Instant gratification wins.
And they would miss out on a massive fortune. Let's just walk through that penny's journey for a second. After 10 days, right, your penny has only grown to, a measly $5.12. Meanwhile, your friend with their $3 million is probably buying a new car, maybe a boat. And you might be thinking, oh man, did I make a colossal mistake here?
I definitely would be.
Then by day 20, it's just over $5,000. Still nowhere near $3 million. It almost feels like a trick, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah, I'd be seriously questioning my life choices at that point.
Right.
What happens next?
But then something incredible starts to happen. Remember, that penny is doubling every day. On day 29, it suddenly leaves to $2.7 million. You're almost even. Day 30, boom, it's $5.3 million. You've passed your friend. And then by day 31, that tiny little penny explodes into over $10.7 million.
Wow. Okay. So the growth isn't just unexciting at first, it's practically invisible. And then suddenly it's not just exciting, it literally takes off like a rocket ship. So what you're really saying here, the key formula is something like small, smart choices plus unwavering consistency applied over time. That equals radical transformation?
Precisely. That consistent application, that's the secret ingredient, the one most people overlook because it just lacks that immediate drama we're all kind of conditioned to expect.
Okay, to really get our heads around the power of these subtle shifts, let's look at the lives of three people, maybe not so different from you listening right now, and let's watch how the compound effect kind of sculpted their destinies over time. We've got Larry, Scott, and Brad, three ordinary guys, right? Grew up together, live in the same neighborhood, making about $50 a year, married, average health. Maybe a little bit of that comfortable post-marriage belly is starting to show. So Larry, he just keeps living life as always, makes no changes, just cruising. Scott, though, he decides to make some small positive choices. Reads 10 pages a day of a good book, listens to 30 minutes of self-improvement audio on his commute, and he cuts just 125 calories from his diet daily. That's like, what, skipping a soda or switching mayo to mustard? Tiny things. He also walks a bit more. Nothing drastic, but he's consistent.
hmm And then there's Brad. He makes a few seemingly harmless negative choices, buys that big screen TV, for more binge watching, starts cooking more of those cheesy comfort food recipes he found, and adds maybe one extra alcoholic drink a week. Again, nothing extreme on the surface, just a little more indulgence, a slight ease up on the discipline.
Okay, so 5 months go by, then 10 months. And guess what? Still no real noticeable difference between them. They look the same, feel the same, pretty much. But then, around 18 months in, those tiny invisible changes finally start to show.
And it's slow at first, but by month 31,
Mm-hmm.
the results are just stunning. Brad has gained 33.5 pounds. Scott, meanwhile, has lost 33.5 pounds. It's a 67-pound swing between them just from those tiny daily choices. But it's not just about the weight, is it? Scott, he's applying what he learned from nearly 1,000 hours of books and audio. He gets a promotion, a raise, and his marriage thrives because, well, he's happier, he's more engaged. Brad, on the other hand, fueled by his choices, he's unhappy at work, his marriage is struggling. And Larry, he's just stuck exactly where he was, only now maybe feeling a bit more resentful about it.
That's an incredibly stark contrast. But, okay,
Yeah.
for someone who feels stuck, maybe living in their own Brad scenario right now, where do they even begin? Where do you find the motivation to make those first tiny positive changes when the payoff feels so incredibly distant?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's the core challenge. Our brains are just wired to prioritize immediate rewards. I think the key is to recognize that motivation isn't always a precondition for action. Often it's actually a result of taking action. Those first few small choices, they're about building tiny wins, proving to yourself, to your own brain, that you can make a choice and stick to it, even just for a day. It's not about transforming your whole life overnight. It's about demonstrating consistency to yourself. Every time you make that smart choice, you're literally casting a vote for the person you want to become. And those votes, they compound over time.
It really shows that the compound effect isn't just real. It's like this impartial force. It works for you or against you, totally depending on your daily direction.
Exactly. And what's truly insightful here, I think, is how one small decision can ripple through an entire life. It creates either a virtuous cycle or a vicious one. Take Brad's downward spiral, for example. The sources suggest it all started with him just trying out a muffin recipe.
Right. An innocent decision, maybe even heartwarming. He bakes it, the family loves it, he feels proud.
Exactly. But then he bakes again and again. And sweets become a routine. It feels so small, so benign at first.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the danger, you see. That one muffin didn't just add calories. It created a tiny emotional cue, maybe even a slight shift in his identity. I'm a guy who bakes muffins. Then Brad starts feeling sluggish at night because of the sugar, doesn't sleep as well, wakes up groggy, which makes him cranky.
Okay, I see the chain reaction starting.
Yeah, and this affects his performance at work. Maybe he gets some negative feedback from his boss, which leads to him disliking his job more. So what does he do? He reaches for more comfort food. Those evening walks with his wife. They stop. Their connection weakens a bit. She starts feeling lonely. And instead of looking inward at his own choices, Brad starts blaming her, maybe. Completely unaware that this whole negative spiral arguably started with that seemingly innocent muffin habit. Meanwhile, Scott, with his simple daily disciplines, reading, listening, cutting a few calories, he's experiencing the exact opposite, a positive spiral. Jeff Olson, in his work, calls this the battle between simple disciplines versus simple errors in judgment. These aren't just isolated events, they're these interconnected decision points that either build you up or, well, break you down over time.
And the returns from these small positive actions can be huge. Like Phil, the CEO mentioned in your sources, his company was doing over $100 million, but the culture felt kind of disconnected. So Phil was challenged to just walk around 3 times a week and give a genuine compliment to 3 employees. That's it. Less than an hour a week. Seems tiny, right?
Almost insignificant, yeah.
But in 18 months, his company saw a 30% profit growth. You just never underestimate the power of a simple, consistent walk and a few genuinely kind words.
Or Kathleen. Another great example from the sources. One of Darren Hardy's assistants. She was earning $40,000 a year, thought saving 10% was totally impossible. So she started by tracking her spending. That was step one. And she opened a savings account with just $33. That was 1% of her monthly income. How'd you find the $33? By bringing lunch from home just once a week.
Just once a week.
Yeah. Then, month after month, she made more tiny adjustments. Cut cable, stopped the daily Starbucks run. Soon, she was saving 10%. Later, she's earning over $100,000, then launched her own consulting business, and now has over $1 million in assets. That whole incredible journey started with saving just $33 a month. It completely reframes what impossible really means, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, here's a crucial truth, and it feels like a powerful one. Everything you have in your life right now, it exists because of a choice you made at some point. Choices become behaviors, behaviors become habits, and habits, well, they ultimately shape your destiny.
Yeah. And what's truly illuminating about that is the idea that you make your choices, but then your choices make you.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are kind of sleepwalking through their unconscious choices.
Yeah.
Our brains, to conserve energy, they want to automate everything. So if you're not actively, consciously making choices, you're basically just defaulting to whatever habits your brain has already hardwired in there, good or bad.
So what does this all mean for us practically? It's not the big things, the elephants, that usually destroy our progress, right?
Yeah.
Not those massive, catastrophic mistakes you can clearly point to. It's the mosquitoes. Those small, frequent, seemingly insignificant choices that just buzz around us every day. That extra soda and a bag of chips at lunch. Or maybe 2 hours of mindless TV every single night. Those are the things that slowly, almost invisibly derail our success.
Absolutely. And that's why that lesson from Jim Rohn, the one Darren Hardy attributes to a seminar he attended when he was just 18, resonates so deeply. The idea that the day you graduate from childhood to adulthood is the day you take full responsibility for your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that means taking 100% responsibility for everything, with zero expectation for anyone else to fix it for you. No blaming the traffic, your boss, the weather, or even, a jammed printer. It shifts your entire locus of control inward. It's empowering, actually.
So if we're truly going to take control, what's the first step? Let's say I want to improve just one area of my life. What's my secret weapon here?
Your most powerful tool, based on these sources, is what we can call the scorecard. It's tracking. Pick that one area you want to improve, then carry a small notebook or use an app on your phone, whatever works for you. And you write everything down, every single action related to that area, every single day, no exceptions. It sounds tedious, I know. And it is initially.
Yeah, I can already hear the collective groan from everyone listening. Do I really have to track everything? But I imagine that tracking forces a certain kind of awareness, doesn't it? It makes it unavoidable.
Absolutely. Tracking is the ultimate awareness tool. It shines a light on things. Darren Hardy himself tells that story, right? When he owed $100,000 in taxes in his early 20s, he had no idea where his money was going until he tracked every single cent for 30 days. It creates that undeniable moment of truth. You reach for that candy bar maybe, and suddenly there's that thought, I have to write that down. And often, just that split second of awareness is enough to make you pause and reconsider, do I really want this?
Mm-hmm.
The act of self-monitoring, it illuminates those unconscious behaviors. It helps you interrupt those automated responses and gives you a chance to choose differently.
And the future value of those small changes, once you actually track them and see them, it's astounding. That $4 daily coffee habit you mentioned, that's $4,460 a year. Okay, doesn't sound like a fortune. But invested over 20 years, it's over $51,000. That really brings home the idea that every dollar you spend today could be worth, what, $5 in 20 years or maybe $10 in 30 years if you invest it wisely.
Exactly. It shifts your perspective from the immediate cost to the future opportunity cost. And that can be a really powerful motivator.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly and talk about habits. There's that analogy of the wise teacher and the student. Pulling out a small sapling is easy, but trying to uproot an old, deeply rooted oak tree, impossible. The lesson being, start working on your habits when they are small and pliable, not when they're massive and entrenched.
That's such a good analogy because quite literally something like 95% of what we do every day is habit, good or bad.
Yeah.
Our brains are designed for efficiency, right? They hardwire these routines into neural pathways to make them incredibly efficient, almost automatic, requiring little conscious thought. Think of Larry Bird, the basketball player, shooting 500 free throws every single morning before school. That's not just talent. It's the relentless, consistent habit that grooves those neural pathways. Understanding that you're literally rewiring your brain with every single consistent choice that gives you incredible leverage.
So to get rid of bad habits, your sources offer some practical game changers. Let's run through them quickly. First, identify your triggers. Really dig deep. Who, what, where, when, and how do you feel right before that habit kicks in? The real trigger isn't always the obvious action itself. Sometimes it's a subtle emotion or a preceding event. So honest self-observation is key.
Critical first step.
Second, clean house. Remove the temptation. If you don't want to eat junk food, just don't keep it in the kitchen. Make the bad choice harder to make. Third, swap it. Find a better alternative that satisfies the same underlying need. Maybe, like you said, 2 Hushies Kisses instead of a whole sundae. Still get the sweet hit, but smaller dose.
Right. Find a healthier substitute.
Fourth, ease in. Slowly transition, like moving maybe from full caffeine coffee to half calf and decaf, a gradual reduction. Or fifth, sometimes you just need to jump in.
Yeah.
Go cold turkey if the habit is really stubborn or harmful. Just rip off the Band-Aid.
Yeah, sometimes that's the only way. And a really powerful personal check-in that I highly recommend, based on the material, is a 30-day vice fast. Pick something, could be coffee, social media, Netflix, sweets, alcohol, and completely abstain for 30 days straight. It's not necessarily about permanent deprivation. It's more about checking in with yourself. Am I still the boss here? Or has this habit actually taken control of me? It can be incredibly clarifying.
That sounds challenging, but useful. Okay, what about building good habits? We have strategies for that too, right? Set yourself up to succeed. Make the good habit incredibly easy, like joining a gym that's literally 5 minutes from your home, not 30. Remove friction. Think addition, not subtraction. Focus on what you gain, like adding a delicious, healthy salad to your lunch, instead of dwelling on what you feel you're giving up, like chocolate. Frame it positively.
Good point. Focus on the positive addition.
Go public for accountability. Tell your friends, tell your family what your goals are. That social pressure can help. Find a success buddy, someone to share the journey with, hold each other accountable, create competition and camaraderie, maybe a step challenge at work or something similar. Make it fun. And importantly, celebrate every win, no matter how small it seems. Acknowledge your progress. Maybe it's just a walk in the park or treating yourself to a nice dinner. Reinforce the behavior.
Absolutely. Recognize those small victories.
And remember, change is hard. And that's actually fantastic because most people simply won't do what it takes. And that, my friend, gives you the opportunity to stand out from the crowd.
That's right. Discomfort, remember, is often the signal to keep going. That's frequently where the breakthroughs happen, right at the edge of what feels sustainable or comfortable.
Okay, let me introduce you to someone, or rather something, that has been a total game changer in the lives of the most successful people in the world. Big Mo. That's big momentum. It's like this invisible force, almost like having a superpower working for you.
Yeah, you can't see it, you can't touch it, but when Big Mo is with you, oh, you'll feel it. Definitely. Everything just seems to become easier. Opportunities seem to open up. You make progress faster. But it doesn't just show up on its own, right? You have to work hard, deliberately, consistently to get it moving in the first place. It's the cumulative effect of all those small, smart, consistent choices we've been talking about.
Think about a train sitting still on the tracks. A small block of wood placed in front of it can easily stop it from moving. But once that same train is moving at speed, maybe 100 miles per hour, nothing, not even a solid concrete wall can stop it. That's the awesome, unstoppable power of momentum. That's Big Mo.
And consistency is absolutely the key to getting Big Mo on your side. You cannot buy it. You have to earn it through consistent, repeated action, day in, day out. And this is why most people, frankly, never really meet Big Mo, because they give up too early. It's like that analogy of pumping water from an old hand pump well. You pump, and nothing comes out. then maybe a few drops. But if you keep pumping through that nothing phase, eventually you get this steady, abundant flow. You have to persist through the initial lack of results.
Right, that persistence piece is crucial.
So the formula seems clear from the sources.
Yeah.
Smart choices plus consistent small actions plus repetition that builds habits. Habits then form routines and rhythms. And all of that, fueled by consistency, equals Big Mo. It's like getting a giant flywheel spinning. Hard to start, but powerful once it's going.
And these routines you mentioned, they sound like the real secret sauce for high achievers, don't they?
They absolutely are. Routines are the system that stops our good intentions from just falling apart when life gets busy or willpower fades. If you look at anything you're truly successful at in your life, I bet you'll almost certainly see some kind of routine behind it. Think of Jack Nicklaus, one of the greatest golfers ever. He had this meticulous pre-shot routine that apparently never varied by more than 1 second. That's how he achieved such consistent, repeatable high performance, especially under intense pressure.
And when those routines break, performance suffers. Like, wasn't there that story about Greg Norman at the 1996 Masters? Rushing his routine cost him his rhythm and maybe the tournament? That's why your material puts such emphasis on bookending our days with powerful routines, morning and evening.
Yeah, think of your day like a sandwich. The bread, the morning and evening routines, holds everything valuable together in the middle. It protects it. Darren Hardy's morning routine, for instance, is quite structured. Includes gratitude, sending love or positive intention, setting his 3 most valuable priorities, or MVPs, for the day. Then reading something positive and doing some focus work before he even dares to check email or get sucked into reactivity.
Starting the day proactively.
Exactly. And his evening routine involves sort of cashing out the day, reviewing what happened, journaling ideas or lessons learned, and reading inspirational material before sleep. These aren't just random habits. They're deliberate rituals designed to prime him for success during the day and reflection at night.
That makes perfect sense. But here's a question. How do you stop routines from becoming, a rigid prison? How do you maintain some spontaneity and flexibility without completely breaking that crucial momentum you've built?
That's an excellent point, and it's a real balancing act. Routine should provide structure, not rigid confinement. So occasionally, changing your routine is actually important, like shaking up a weightlifting program to avoid hitting a plateau that challenges your body, your mind, your spirit. It adds a bit of adventure back in your life, prevents stagnation. It's also about extending routines into broader rhythms, weekly, monthly, even yearly. For a couple, maybe it's a non-negotiable Friday date night and a quick Sunday relationship review meeting. These rhythms create a predictable, supportive flow while still allowing for natural variations and preventing burnout.
Okay, so if consistency is the ultimate competitive advantage, as the sources suggest, how do we truly embed that into our everyday actions? Make it stick.
It really boils down to the difference between stop-and-go progress and continuous motion. Imagine you're flying from Los Angeles to New York. Your plane flies super fast, say 500 miles per hour, but you decide to stop and land in every single state along the way. Now, I, on the other hand, fly at a much more modest 200 miles per hour. But I never stop. I just keep going. Who gets to New York first? Me, by a landslide. That stop-and-go approach is a killer. It destroys your momentum and wastes incredible amounts of energy just restarting every time. So the advice is clear. Be the tortoise, not the hare. Slow and steady, but relentless.
That analogy perfectly illustrates why so many of us struggle, I think. We get inspired, we start something new, full of energy, then life happens, we pause. And trying to start again feels even harder than the first time.
Exactly. It's because you've lost Big Mo. You're trying to push that heavy train from a dead stop every single time. It's exhausting.
Okay, so we've talked about taking responsibility and building momentum through our own choices and habits. But while you are 100% responsible for your choices, it's also true that outside forces constantly influence those choices, right? Often without us even realizing it. From your sources, the emphasis seems clear. You absolutely must become aware of these invisible influences. Otherwise, they will control you.
Absolutely. It's a crucial part of the equation. Darren Hardy breaks them down into 3 main types of influences that shape us. First is input, basically what you feed your mind. Garbage in, garbage out isn't just a cliche, it's reality for our brains. Your brain's default setting often is geared towards fear and survival. It notices the negative easily. So you have to intentionally, consciously flush out the negativity, maybe limit negative news, complaining, etc., and pour in clean, fresh water. That means high-quality books, podcasts, positive information. He talks about Drive Time University, using your commute time for learning. That could be 300 hours a year. The information you consume literally shapes your perception of what's possible for you.
Makes sense. Input is huge. And then there are the people around you, right? That's got to be a big
Now,
one.
massive. That's the second type, associations. As Jim Rohn famously said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
And it's not just a cute saying, it's a powerful psychological reality. Their habits, their beliefs, their expectations, their attitudes, they are contagious. They rub off on you. So you really need to consciously evaluate and categorize your relationships. Disassociations might mean cutting off truly toxic, negative influences, even if that's incredibly difficult. Limited associations are for people you might still care about, but whose influence isn't entirely positive, so you need them in small, managed doses. And expanded associations means actively seeking out mentors, role models, positive peers, success buddies, people who lift you up, challenge you, and inspire you.
That requires some honest assessment. And finally, our surroundings, our physical space. That's the third one, environment. Your physical environment profoundly shapes your dreams, your mood, your aspirations. Darren Hardy shares that story about eventually buying his dream house in Tiburon, California. It was an affluent area he had visited for inspiration for years. It was a physical manifestation of his ambition. The idea is you get what you tolerate in your environment. So you must protect your physical and mental space from chaos, from clutter, from negativity, from anything that pulls you down or distracts you. It's a constant process, really, curating your surroundings so they actively support your goals, not hinder them.
So fundamentally, you are the gatekeeper of your mind, your relationships, and your environment. That's a powerful responsibility, but it also gives you immense control if you choose to exercise it.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here, moving towards the end, is what happens when you decide you don't just want steady progress, you want to accelerate your results. The sources suggest that real growth doesn't happen in the easy, comfortable moments. It happens when you're feeling challenged, maybe even in pain, right at the edge of your capacity. That's where you push beyond what's expected. It's that moment of truth, whether it's pushing up that final hill on a tough bike ride, like the Mount Soledad story, or facing a daunting business challenge head-on.
Okay, so how do you actively multiply your results? Not just add to them incrementally, but actually multiply them. Your sources highlight three key strategies here. First, go the extra rep, like in weight training. Maybe the first 12 reps get you to your limit, but it's those extra 3 to 5 reps beyond that point where it truly hurts. That's where the real muscle growth happens. Arnold Schwarzenegger even famously used a cheating principle, using slight momentum to help get those crucial extra reps in. That discomfort is your signal that you're operating right at the edge of your current potential, and that's forcing a breakthrough you wouldn't get otherwise.
Right. Pushing past perceived limits. Second, do more than expected. Think of Oprah giving everyone in her audience a car. That was way beyond expected. Or Darren learning Portuguese just so he could respectfully ask his future father-in-law for his daughter's hand in marriage. Or Stuart Johnson launching a nonprofit to help others even while his own business was struggling. These aren't just generous acts. They are often strategic moves that build immense goodwill, expand your influence, and multiply your impact far beyond the initial effort involved. They create legendary status.
And the third one is interesting. Do the unexpected. Basically, zag when everyone else zigs. Be a contrarian. Like sending Thanksgiving cards when everyone else sends predictable Christmas cards. Stands out more. Richard Branson's bold, headline-grabbing stunts for Virgin. Or Darren putting a sold sign on a homeowner's doorstep before they'd even decided to sell just to get their attention. It doesn't always take a ton of money. Often it just takes guts, creativity, and the sheer willingness to be bold and stand out from the crowd. These are the moments people remember and talk about.
Absolutely, and remember the core insight here. Extraordinary results don't necessarily require extraordinary resources. They require extra effort, extra thought, and the consistent application of these smart strategies over time.
So wrapping this up, you now possess a method, a philosophy really, a map drawn from your very own sources that can guide you toward tangible, measurable success in pretty much any area of your life. It's about understanding that undeniable power of small, consistent choices, the critical importance of making conscious decisions, the strategic art of building unstoppable momentum, the vital practice of managing the influences around you, and the exhilarating opportunity to actually accelerate your results beyond the norm.
Yeah, and maybe take a moment right now, just pause, and truly look back on your life 5 years ago. Are you exactly where you thought you would be? Or hoped you would be? If the answer is no, well, the reason is remarkably simple, isn't it? It's been a matter of your choices up until now. The next 5 years will unfold one way or another. But how they unfold, that depends entirely on the decisions you choose to make starting today. The compound effect will work. The only question is whether you deliberately harness it for your benefit or just allow it to operate on autopilot, potentially taking you somewhere you don't want to go.
And here's a final provocative thought for you, something to really mull over as we finish. To receive more, you often have to give more. If you seek confidence, find a way to empower someone else to find theirs. If you desire inspiration, try becoming a source of it for others around you. When you genuinely help someone else succeed, you inevitably pull yourself toward greater success too. It's like the compound effect in action, not just for you internally, but rippling outwards. It
Uh,
creates this amazing chain reaction of positive change.
It really does.
You are equipped now. You have the knowledge from these sources. You hopefully have the vision. Now you just have to take the steps, the small, consistent steps. Your future self is waiting to thank you for the decisions you make starting today.